Hello, kindergarten scientists. You have been learning about solids and liquids. And in this lesson, you are going to learn about how materials interact with water. Do they absorb water? That means do they soak it in? Or do they repel water, which means they keep the water out? Well, I want to share with you some of the materials that I have right in front of me for this exploration. So what I have here are paper towels, cardboard, coffee filter, and this is made all out of paper, basswood, and a popsicle stick. This is our wood materials, a metal lid, a plastic tray, some fabric pieces, so I have terry cloth and seersucker, and I have this measuring cup, which is made out of glass. Now, to do this exploration, I need this cup of water with a water dropper. I'm going to add water to each of these materials, and I want you to watch really carefully to see what happens. Do these materials absorb water? Does it soak it in? Or does it repel water? Does it keep it out? All right, I'm going to move some of the materials so we can get a really good look at what happens when I place a couple drops of water. Let's start with the paper towel. Well, before I drop the water on the paper towel, what do you think is going to happen? Make a prediction or make a guess. Do you think it's going to soak up the water, or do you think it's going to keep the water out? All right, hold that thought. Let's see what happens. Wow, that paper towel absorbed the water. It soaked it right in. What about the coffee filter? What do you think is going to happen when I place a couple drops of water on this filter? Do you think it will absorb the water or keep the water out? Take a guess. All right, I'm excited to find out what happens. If you said that the filter will absorb or soak up the water, you're correct. Good job. That's exactly what happened here. So I'm going to leave that with the paper towel. I see a little spill, so I'm going to wipe that up because I know paper towels are absorbent. They can soak up water, so I can clean my workspace here. All right, cardboard. Do you think it's going to absorb, soak up the water, or keep the water out? Take a guess. All right, I put a couple drops of water and I see that the water's resting on top of the cardboard. It looks like it's repelling the water. It's not soaking the water up. I'm surprised because it's a paper product, so I thought it would absorb the water. I'm going to leave it to the side and see if I notice any changes. I'm going to keep an eye on that and see what happens. All right, so I have basswood here. Take a guess. Do you think it's going to absorb the water or keep the water out? Well, it looks like it's repelling the water right now because you see the water resting right on top of this wood sample. I'm going to leave it to the side and see if there's any other changes that happen. Here's the popsicle stick. Do you think it's going to absorb water or keep the water out? Let's see. There's water, and it looks like it's resting on top. It doesn't look like it has absorbed into the popsicle stick. So I'm going to leave it on the side with the other things that did not absorb water right away and see if anything changes later on. How about this metal lid? Do you think this lid will absorb the water or keep the water out? What do you think? Let's see. Look at that water. It's resting right on top of the lid, and the metal is not absorbing the water. You can see it move around when I move the lid. That's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to leave it on the side and see if anything changes later on. So here's the plastic frame. I'm going to put some water on that here, but first I want you to take a guess. Do you think it's going to soak up the water or repel water? What do you think? Let's see. Look at that. The water is resting right on top of this plastic tray. It's not soaking up inside. So I'm going to leave this to the side as well and see if anything changes in a moment. here are my fabric samples. We have seersucker and terry cloth. Do you think one will absorb water? Do you think one will not absorb water? Do you think both will absorb water? Or neither will absorb water? What do you think? All right, let's see. Wow, the terry cloth absorbed that water right away. Kind of reminds me of paper towel. All right, let's try this material with seersucker. I see the water staying on top. There it is, resting on top. I'm gonna give it a moment to rest here and see if anything changes. I wanna try now this measuring cup. I'm gonna flip it over so we can see this surface on the outside of the measuring cup. Do you think the glass will absorb water, or do you think it will? So will it soak up the water, or will it keep it out? Will it repel water? So this measuring cup is made of glass. What do you think? All right, let's see. There's the water. It did not soak it up. It's right on top. It's repelling the water. It's keeping the water out. How cool is that? All right, I want to go back to some of the things that repel the water to see if there were any changes. Let me just clean my working space again. All right, so we have the glass that repelled water and this metal lid, and it looks the same. The water's still resting on top. Wow, look at this. Here's the seersucker. Even though it had the water resting on top, and you still see some of the beads of water resting on top, a lot of the water soaked in. So I'm thinking it probably needed more time to soak up the water. So it doesn't look like this material repels water. It looks like it absorbs water. It just needs time. All right, wow, look at the basswood. This was something where the water was resting on top, and I do see a little water resting on top there, not as much as before, but I also see that it has soaked in, and I can see a color change here. That tells me that water is soaking into the wood. So this piece of wood absorbs water. Let's take a look at the popsicle stick, and I see some of the water resting on top, but I also see that some of it has absorbed. So I think, just like the seersucker, it takes time for water to absorb into some materials, like seersucker material, or like the wood, or the popsicle stick. Here's the cardboard, and it doesn't, the water's still resting on top. I'm gonna just kind of push the bead of water a little bit to the side and see if I can, yeah, you know what? When I pushed some of that water to the side, I noticed that it is soaking in a little bit, the water. That's what I was looking for. It looks like it just needs some time to soak in. So it looks like it is absorbent, just it doesn't absorb as fast as paper towel or some of the other things like terry cloth material or the coffee filter. And here's the plastic tray, and it did not absorb the water. It's still resting on top. All right, so what did we learn? We learned that some materials absorb water, they soak it in, and some materials repel water. They keep that water out.